What's up, everybody? Welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. I'm Tom McAllister. Backwards, I am McAllister today.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, guys. So this podcast right here is going to be titled Effort and Attitude.
Ooh.
And there's a reason why we're going to break this down. And I just want to be just 100% clear with you guys. And baby, we've just spoken on this so much recently. We've been noticing it more and more in our life, not just in our own personal life, but just in the atmosphere, the surroundings of us in our life, of how important this is. And where we're just really noticing that person just missed an opportunity. That person just missed an opportunity. That person just missed an opportunity. That person just put them back in a push their growth back a long time and just extended the process because of it. And it's all effort and attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing is, guys, I just want to just speak this straight off the top. All blessings in life, whether from your wife, whether from an employer, or a possible investor, or from God, 100% of the time come from effort and attitude. It's all that.
Yeah.
So many people, babe, I think they just are owed something in life.
Yeah.
They're entitled, they're bitter, and they're owed something from someone. Whether you work at a job and you think you're owed something from them. Well, I've been here for 5 years and this other person just got a raise and they've only been here for 2 years and they got the promotion ahead of me. That's BS. I've been here for 5 years. I deserve that promotion. That attitude and that right there is exactly why you did not get the promotion.
Right. The other person could be showing 10 times more effort than that person.
100%. And so that goes with God as well. Is in 2 Peter 3:9, you guys hear me use it all the time. It says, God's not slow as some consider slow, for he's patient with you. For he does not want anyone to perish, but all to come to repentance. Means he's going to be slow as he's going to just wait and wait and wait and just keep sanctifying process. And then he'll bless when you're ready, but he can't do it too soon because you will perish. It's the same thing. What he's doing, he will withhold the blessing. He can be trusted with little, can be trusted with many, but he'll withhold those blessings because you're not ready for them. And you haven't done anything to show that, like, yo, you are deserving of them.
Yeah.
Only thing you deserve is death. I deserve death. Diane deserves death. And you deserve death. But God will bless bigger and more on top of it. Does he love you? Yes. He loves the axe murderer the same as he loves the person who's the most holiest person ever. But Jesus says, if you want to remain in my love, you must keep my commands. Which means if you want to be blessed, you must keep my commands. You must do these things. And so it was kind of cool this morning. Maybe I was listening to a book, and the book was good. I've just been kind of noticing this, and I've been kind of wrestling this with myself recently, is that this is all we do is ministry. It's all we do is soak up growth-driven stuff all day long, every day. And so sometimes when I get into a book, it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, it's good, but it's like, I really, really know this stuff already.
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking for the next book that's deeper, right? Like I don't know if it was math. I can't be having regular division, or multiplication. I'm not saying that as an ego and prideful ways. I've just put a lot of time and effort into this, that I want stuff that's going to be calculus or trigonometry or something that's going to like, whoa, it's going to challenge me. This is going to kick me in the face. This is going to break me in those aspects. And so sometimes with books, you just don't know until you start. We listen to most books. Started listening to another book, and the last book I did, same thing, but I got a couple really good nuggets. And the one today, I was like, man, I got this other book that I really want to get to. And I believe it is like more of the trigonometry because I've had multiple people recommend it to me who I really look up to. And so I'm like, okay, this is probably the smoke then. And anyways, but the book, I was like, well, no, I'm going to finish this book though that I already started. I'm already an hour and a half into it. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. I got 5 hours left. I'm just going to keep going on this book, but that's 5 hours is 5 hours.
It is. Sometimes it's so hard though, because you never know. That like golden nugget could just be like right around the corner,
Totally. And so that's why I said, well, no, man, you're a man of excellence and a man of discipline. You're going to do this. And so I was like, all right. So I kept listening, and no joke, like 5 to 10 minutes later, the author dropped a gem. And I was like, if this is all I get out of this book, then I'm good. And basically what he was talking about, and I know this because I just preached a whole sermon on obedience and things like this, but I never saw this part of this parable before, or not parable, a miracle in the Bible before. And so I was like, man, I'm going to use that. And it's just so true. It was when Jesus did his very first miracle when he turned water to wine. Now, I do believe that wine was either very watered down. I'm not watered down, just not fermented in the weak,
not
or
potent,
or did not have alcohol content in it. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But when he turned water to wine, She, she wanted to love on her hosts at the party. She's people she cared about, right? Because she was at this wedding and she didn't, she felt bad for them because they were letting their guests down and the honor that comes with that. And so her heart was for them. And so she asked Jesus to, do this, and they have their dialogue on it. But here's how the miracle took place. And I've never seen this. She tells the people who needed the miracle, do whatever he says. And then the miracle happened. Do whatever he says.
Yeah.
Do whatever he says. Do what he says. It doesn't say, well, gosh, I need this miracle, but man, you know what? Keep doing it my way. Or you know what? I don't know. Like, I don't know if I really, it's like, no, do whatever he says.
Yeah.
If he says, walk on water, you walk on water. He says, sell your house, you sell your house. He says, quit your job, you quit your job. Do whatever he says. And because of it, they did, and they got the miracle. But so if that's for a miracle, what about just the littler things in your life? Your marriage does not need a miracle. I'll tell you that right now.
Sometimes they do.
Maybe the worst of the worst, but I'm talking a miracle is somebody who's blind and that they can't see.
Exactly.
Somebody who's going to be raised from the dead. Somebody who's walking who can't walk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are miracles to me. Your marriage getting back isn't a miracle. That is expected because it's not that hard. We've just didn't do what Jesus said to get us into this spot. So that's what got us into this spot. So we just need to do what he says, and that's not necessarily a miracle. So, but if he says to do that with the miracles, if you just do that in your everyday life, what do you think is going to happen as well?
Right. It's crazy though, because so many people, they're Christians, they might read the Bible and stuff too, but they read it and they think, well, do I really need to put that thing into place? Like, I don't think I really need to do that, and it's like, it could be that one thing that God's saying, like, just do this one thing that I'm asking you to do. You might be doing 9 other ones, but the one thing you're like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't need to do that. That could be the one thing he's waiting for you to do in order to bless that big thing in your life.
Yeah, it's the last little blocker. You maybe have all these dams along the river that's trying to open this river up, and it's the last little thing that's going to open the floodgates because he wants all of your heart. That's what he says. I want all of your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. He didn't say, well, give me your heart and your mind and all of that and partial of your soul and partial of your strength. No, all of each. That means every aspect you give him all. And when you give him all, that means you're fully surrendered and he can work with that. Because if not, if you can't give him to the all, that means you have an idol. And that idol is the dam blocker that you have. And I'm not saying dam as like the cuss word dam, but it's the blocker,
the water dam
that you're just talking about on that. What was cool in the book also, and it just confirms all these things. Sometimes what I like about listening to books and things, it just goes, oh yeah, that's what I've been teaching. That's what I've been preaching. This is what the Spirit's been telling me. Oh, and then I'm getting this from another book as well. And so the Spirit transfers over, right? Because God's the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow, that his truth isn't just for you or maybe just for me, but no, it's the same for all people. So that just confirms. But what he was saying, because we did this, we've had multiple people that work for us do this. And I recommend it for all people. Well, Jesus told the rich young ruler, sell everything, come follow me. Now, he doesn't want everybody to sell everything, but he does want all of you. And a lot of times, as we've said, the biggest way that devil gets to people isn't through drugs and alcohol. That's that's a big one. But the bigger one is 401k plans and insurance plans. Because people stop to provide, right? Just had a guy today and he DM'd me and he was talking about this today. He was just like, he saw our podcast reel. If you don't follow the podcast page, High Level Husband on the Instagram, TikTok, what it is he said, we were talking about the 40-day sex fast. And he goes, oh, man, he was joking. He said, oh man, it's like I do a 25 to 30-day sex fast every month because I work in the oil field. And so I have to do this every single month. And he's like, but hey, it's what I got to do as a Christian man to provide. And I was like, ooh, you don't understand what it's like to be Christian. Oh man.
No.
And I was like, and so I broke it down to him. I'm like, you think providing makes you a great man?
Providing the money that he gets from being away from his family for 25 to 30 days.
And you think that is better than you being a dad in the house?
Right.
The stats are terrible when the man's not in the house.
Absolutely.
So that's great. You can bring a paycheck back once a month. Great, bro. That doesn't make you a great man. Now he's not a bad man. I'm not saying this guy's a bad man. He thinks he's doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's not. Which is why God put me in front of him to tell him the opposite. And I wasn't condemning him. I was just bringing truth to light.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing happened in my own life because I watched when I was a little girl when my parents got divorced and I was like 7 and my dad moved away out of the city we lived because he said he couldn't find any jobs there. And I'm sorry, to move 6 hours away from my children because I didn't think that there was a good enough job there to be absent from my children's life, I just would not be able to ever do that. And so the fact that he chose to move away because he thought he could get a better job, which then really didn't, he's always like been financially stressed, bankruptcy many times, all of these things, never had money to be able to,
Mm-hmm.
even provide, even really hardly, to think that he actually made that move and then stayed there, like didn't say like, oh, this isn't working, maybe I'll move back to be near my children. Like he just stayed gone. And so I just don't understand why people think that being away from your family, being away from your kids, being away from your spouse is a better option to get money.
And that's so, I love that you said that, babe. And I love the way the Spirit's speaking through you right now on that. So I honor you for that, because then what did it do? Yeah, you said like the money didn't make his life better.
He never got rich because he
Right.
moved away, tried to get a better job.
And I'm sure he did feel convicted about being away from you guys. So
I'm
then
sure.
it made him an alcoholic.
Right.
So then he became an alcoholic. Yeah. That darn near killed him. But then he didn't even. So not only was he absent from your life, and yes, you would go spend a week with him at Christmas, and in the summer breaks you would go down there for a couple of weeks or whatever. But that doesn't make that's nothing. Mm-mm. And so now he's absent from your whole life. Mm-hmm. Then on our wedding day, he can't come to our wedding because a week or two before, because he's an alcoholic, his pancreas or something in his body shuts down, and now he's in the hospital and can't walk you down the aisle because of it. So now the thing he left you to go do to provide also led to low self-worth of bankruptcy. Also had to, why you don't just go to bankruptcy because you can't make enough money. You go to bankruptcy because you spent way too much money trying to find happiness, which then you can't find happiness in it. So then you turn to the bottle, and that breaks your body and you can't find happiness. And so now you're broken down trying to provide. Right. Mm-hmm. And so then he couldn't even be there as a physically for you. Now he can't even be there to walk you down the aisle of those same things, all because he chose to not stay there. Did he not give God a chance to say, you know what? Yeah, I want these other higher paying jobs. Do you not think God will provide happiness, joy, peace, and all that? God says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you. He didn't give God a chance. He took it into his own hands and went down there. But what was cool was what I was going to say about this book.
Sorry.
No.
I went down like a long
that's
rabbit hole
perfect.
there.
What you said was perfect. It just complements this. Is what he said was, now he's a big known author and all these other aspects. He said, I was trying to do things to provide, and just because I was good at something doesn't mean that that's my purpose in life. He said, I was really good at being like with smarts and things like that, witty. And so I said, well, maybe I'll use these to become a lawyer. Right. And he's like, so that's smart because he has these smarts, these talents. He can talk, he can debate, he can do these things, which he's now using for the faith to make people's lives better. And here we are speaking about him on this podcast, now discipling people all around the world because of him, right? Because of what I listened to this morning. Why? Because of my effort to go and listen, and my attitude that I still believe I'm going to get something out of this book, right? And anyways, and so I'm listening, and he says, so I became a lawyer, and he says, yes, at the beginning, I grew my own firm. I provided for my family. And even on top of that, I was tithing and blessing things. We were starting mission stuff over in Africa and Uganda and blessing them over there and all these other things. He said, but I just felt this burning call that like, I'm not supposed to be a lawyer. I just thought that this was the smart route to go because it pays well. And I got these, I can do this. And he said, so what God wants you to do isn't always because you can do things that you should do things. Right. And he said, so no joke, my conviction got so loud that one day he said, no joke, it's my firm. My name is on the firm. I got up, I walked to the front. I said, everybody, I'm quitting. I'm leaving. And he said, I gave the keys to the janitor and I said, you now own the business. I don't care about this anymore. Whatever you do with it, you can run it, you can keep it, you can do whatever. I'm out. And I left. Could have he maybe sold the firm? Could have he taken 6 months to, get his ducks in a line, maybe save up some more money? No, he said, you know what? God said, rise early in the morning. And so I'm doing it. God says, sell everything, do it. God says, would send you out 2 by 2. Don't bring anything. He says, all right, I'm done. Because it's the same thing that Elisha did when he burned the plow. He didn't say, well, let me hold on to the plow.
Just in case.
Well, let me sell the plow and then I can keep the money. No, he lit the thing on fire and burned it. And because of that, he got the double portion of the Holy Spirit from Elijah on that. And he said, you will do better things, greater things than this. Are you willing to do that? Guys listening to this right now are gonna be like, that sounds stupid. Well, guess what? I'm not going to say you're stupid because that would be the bad thing to say. But no, it is so illogical in God's ways to just stay because you think I'm providing for my family.
Mm-hmm.
No, you are actually not providing souls to the kingdom because you're doing it because you locked yourself into a job that you need other thing and you
Mm-hmm.
backed yourself into a corner.
Yeah.
Stop now, leave and go and do other things and encounter God at such high levels that all your problems will go away in life. All your problems will go away.
Yes.
But because you stay in something that you hate, guess what? Or maybe you don't even hate it. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe, I'm sure he didn't hate being a lawyer. I'm sure he didn't hate probably making 7 figures a year, but he was kind of like, I just am off. And guess what? His marriage probably wasn't as good. Kids parenting probably wasn't as good.
Mm-hmm.
All these other things aren't as good. And he's not discipling people around the world, but yet he's being a good provider. What I guarantee, when he did the other thing, he actually found out what was life.
Yeah.
He was not leading people to heaven at the scale that you can, right, in it, and go and find out what is more. I could have just taken my talents that God's given me with. I could go down to Costco, get a job, and every person that comes through the line, I could love on. Drop 8 seconds with them a smile. How you doing? How's your dog doing today? Remember their names. And that's phenomenal. That's great. Or I could start with that and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and become who I'm becoming now. And I already know that there's just so much more what God's doing in our life that we literally just flew back in. We're flying all over the place right now that God's doing it for us to go disciple people. And I promise you guys, when we're doing that, we're not doing it to get paid. Like literally, and I'm going to say this, and maybe I'm blocking blessings from God. I tell these people, don't pay me. Don't pay
Just
me.
cover my travel expenses and we'll be there.
And we'll be there. And what do they always do on the back end? Pay me anyways because of it. But that's not like the wink wink that I'm trying to do.
No.
I just want to go serve God's people and God will provide on the back end. It doesn't make sense in it, but guess what? Because of that, I'm high on life. We got an amazing marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You put it out in your stories of the day after I got done dropping that sermon.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Blessed to have you as a husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm blessed that this is my husband.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you said this was the best sermon I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I forgot I put that in there.
But it was only the best sermon I ever heard because I'm willing and able with effort and attitude to go where God's calling. And I feel weak before I go on these stages. And every time though, I should feel weak because as Tommy will fail. But when God lets his anointing come through me, it's amazing. Let God's anointing come through you guys, but you will only get God's anointing, guys, through effort and attitude. And if you think you're owed something from your wife because she's your wife, you're wrong. If you think you're owed something from your boss, you're wrong. Only thing you're owed, like I said, is death. You show up with effort and attitude. It's the same part of the parable of the workers. Here's the thing about the workers one. Yes, it is about getting into heaven. That it doesn't matter if you signed up first or the last person of the day who showed up and worked, that you both can get in heaven. Now, the first person may get more blessings because he did it longer. We will store up treasures in heaven. But the first person who was there that day was stoked to get paid. But when he heard that the last person who showed up that day was getting paid the exact same, what happened? His heart was revealed. Yo, why is this dude getting paid the same as me? Exactly. I was here all day in the heat and sun. He was only here for an hour and he got paid the same much. I say, Mount, I was here for 10 hours and or 8 hours or how long ever it was. And I got the exact same amount of him. And the master says, do you not think I can do whatever I want to do with my own business and my own money? You agreed to what you were going to do and you were happy at that time. So why did it change? It revealed their heart. And so because God knew their heart, guess what? They just showed the truth and they won't get blessed because of that.
Yeah.
So,
excuse me.
I've seen this with so many men. And so I want to say one thing is that God's always watching. Your wife's always watching. Your kid's always watching. Your boss is always watching. Somebody is always watching.
Yeah.
And we've done this in so many places with people. Every person that works for us was somebody that came through our program or in our sphere. And we just stood back and watched. And they just excelled, not because of time that they were around us, but because of their attitude and their effort. And I would always just go, I would be watching. They didn't know I was watching. I didn't start going, hey man, I see you have great effort and attitude. Just want to let you know if you keep this up, you'll get to work for us and blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't say anything.
No.
I would just say, maybe every now and then I'd say, man, I love your effort and attitude. Just something simple, right? That doesn't mean that they think that I'm going to bless them with something massive. I was just encouraging. Right. And I've done that time and time again.
But they chose to go above and beyond what they actually needed to do. And that's what I was taught as a kid. As a kid, I was taught to go above and beyond. Like somebody asks you to do something, you do twice as much. You know, you do everything with excellence. And I was taught that as a kid too. Like if you're painting a fence that you don't want to paint, but your parents make you paint it, you do it well. So you don't have to go back and do it again, but you do it well. They're going to notice and maybe they're going to give you a little extra money on it. You know, I mean, that's how probably our generation, a lot of us were actually taught to do, but most people don't follow through with it.
No, because they want something.
Right.
Well, you only told me I was going to get this, and so I'm only going to give you the effort. I'm only going to get this amount of money, so I'm only going to get this amount of effort.
Right.
Well, you don't sleep with me, so I'm not going to give you the best attitude. If you do that, then maybe I'll give you a better attitude. It's a transactional. No, what part of Jesus washing feet was transactional? None of it.
Yeah.
He didn't get nothing back, right? And so what you were talking about, give double the effort. Jesus talks about this. He says, if they ask you to go 1 mile, go 2.
Yes. Yeah.
The Bible talks about this. It says, do everything as if you're doing it for the Lord, which means excellence.
Yeah.
Do everything with excellence, right? And when you do it, somebody's watching. Like, that's not people who just work with us. It's people in our program where I've just totally gone above and beyond, done crazy things for people because we have multiple tiers. For the people who are in the bottom tier, I've upgraded them to the top tier. I've given them extra calls. I've invited them out to events and covered their costs. I've done all of these things for them because not because I told them I would do that, but because their effort and attitude. Now I've watched people with other things and they just start complaining or whatever, these other things in life. And guess what? They're never going to get it. And that's what's holding them back. It's what's holding them back in their marriage and every aspect of their life. You clean that up, good things happen. But yes, the only way you clean that up is getting broken.
Yeah.
You have to get your pride broken. Pride is the catalyst for every single sin in life, every single sin. And until you're willing to die to self, you will not get blessed on the backside of things. You can't bring that sinful, prideful self to heaven. And that's, I believe that type of person that's prideful, what's in it for me, entitled, but yet's been baptized and claims they've given their heart to God, even though they haven't technically, or they would allow him to do whatever he wants with their life, is the person that Jesus says, many are going to say, Lord, Lord, but I'm going to say, get away from me. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
Because of their prideful self, because they were in it for the gifts and not the gift of it in those aspects. And so guys, you have to have 100% effort and 100% attitude. And even if nobody is going to watch or nobody's going to do anything back for you, God's always watching. And it's how it is in our life. God, why aren't you blessing me right now? Why aren't you doing these things right now? Even if you're giving up, even if your effort and attitude is at a 10 out of 10 right now and nothing's happening in your life, that does not mean that God is not watching and he's just stacking more and more and more and just letting this refinement get even better. And then he's going to blow it through the roof. I promise you that. That's where in Jeremiah 29:11, he says, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans for a hope and a future. And you know what's crazy about that, babe? I didn't realize it until I read it today. That verse was when Jeremiah prophesied about them going back in Haggai. And I just preached on Haggai this weekend, guys. Yeah. And he was telling them, like, he was basically letting them know, for I'm going to stand where my promises, but first you need to build my house instead of yours. And here's the results of that. Plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans for a hope and future. But first you need to stop doing things your ways and you just need to start obeying me. And that's when that verse comes into fruition. Isn't that crazy? Wow. We've been preaching that verse forever and they didn't know that that's exactly why it tied into Haggai.
That's amazing.
Into those moments. But I'm going to use this right here, and I don't want to use it as like a bragging moment, but it was yesterday. We had just flown back in our plane the night before. We flew back in from preaching twice this weekend on the East Coast, and we live on the West Coast. So the time lag and a little sleep when you're on the East Coast because all the time's off and all these other aspects. And then our plane was delayed 4 hours, so we didn't get back super late. And anyway, so yesterday just was tired, you know, and so I run off creativity. Yeah. A lot of things I need to do have creativity behind it. And so I just was like, man, I have no creativity right now today. So kind of, I don't want to say it's frustrating a little bit, but also I understood that this is just the process of from going and pouring out and going and discipling. And that's just what it's going to be today. And so after lunch, I was just going to like go do some stuff, but I didn't have any creativity in me. So I was like, that's normally why we have our boundaries in our marriage. We have our own, I guess what is like rules or whatever we think, like duties. Roles. Yeah. That's what the word I'm looking for. Yep. And so I don't do dishes or those type of things. And every now and then now let's just put it this way. When I eat, I put mine in the dishwasher,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't do all the kids or Diane's or the pots
Right.
and pans and things like that.
Right.
Not because I'm lazy, it's because one, you've told me not to do it because it makes you feel less than, because I
Because
have
it's
my roles
yeah,
and I kill my roles.
because that's my role, and if you take it away, then I'm left with no roles.
Right. And so we're helpers for each
Yeah,
other's guys.
exactly.
So I need to be in my roles and Diane be in hers. But we've talked about these and we've discussed these and
Yeah.
all those other aspects. And when I've gone above and beyond in those things, you're like, yo, that's my role. But I
There's the
just
occasional circumstance, like yesterday when I came home after I was gone, like pretty much mostly the whole day, really. And I had come home and he had done, I'm probably stealing your thunder here. I had come home and you had done all the pots and pans and all the dishes.
well, me, that's
And
what I was gonna
I
say
was
was
grateful.
in that moment, I was like, well, I just got done eating. I need to go on a walk
Mm-hmm.
and get some movement in. I was going to record some content, which really doesn't take much effort. And so I didn't need to be creative in that moment because I already had what I was going to say and all these
Mm-hmm.
other things. And so, but I was like, I need to get some movement in. And then I
Mm-hmm.
look, because we had flew back in so late that night before, but you had an early morning appointment
Mm-hmm.
um, that you had to be at. If we were going to take our son to go part of this homeschool group, and you were going to be there for hours. Then
Mm-hmm.
you started to go grocery shopping because we were been gone for days because we had no food in the house. And then you had to come straight back home. And then we were going to go to the gym because you're disciplined in that. And then we had
Yeah.
our group coaching call. And then you had to take our son to a doctor's appointment. A late night doctor's appointment was weird at the times of it, but then
Mm-hmm.
you had to. So you had this full day.
Yeah.
So because I'm a proactive thinker,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, Diane's got this full day,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a million dishes in here because she had to dip out early this morning because we meal prep our food.
Yeah.
And so you had meal prep that morning.
But didn't have time to clean up my mess.
So you had all the dishes
Yeah.
from meal prepping was all
Mm-hmm.
in the sink. And I was like, well, instead of going on a walk and getting my movement, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to do all the dishes and knock all of that out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was listening to a podcast, which I got an amazing, amazing takeaway from,
Mm.
which I was able to preach last night on the group call for some people. But that was listening, what multitasking while I
Mm-hmm.
was doing the dishes. But I knocked it out and I completely forgot about it. And it wasn't until you got home, but then you got been home for like 4 hours and you were like, oh, hey, I need to tell you something. And I was like, what? And
Oh, it
you're
was last night. Yeah.
like late last night.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to let you know, thank you so much for doing
Yeah.
the dishes today. I didn't even notice. And then I just did notice that they were done and there was a lot of them. And it was like, I forgot to tell you. And I was like, oh yeah. But because I just did it with effort and attitude,
Yeah.
I didn't do it to get
Yeah.
anything.
You weren't like probably sitting on the edge of your chair waiting like a lot of men are, because
Yes.
that's they're waiting for. They're needy with their wives. They're waiting for that accolade, and so you're not sitting on the edge of your chair waiting for me to say, thank you so much for doing the dishes. You had forgot all about it. I had actually forgot about it because I was gone so much yesterday. I forgot that I left everything sitting in the sink. But then when I realized it, I was like, "Ah, I need to tell him because I really appreciated it at that time because I was busy all day. Normally it's like, oh, I'll just come back to it in a half an hour. But
Right. And so great. Well said on all that, babe. My point was, guys, is what she said. I wasn't waiting on the edge of my seat. I forgot about it.
mm-hmm.
I didn't do it to get more sex. I didn't get it to get appreciation from
Yeah.
her. I didn't get it so I could then, when it comes to maybe she'll do more things for me. I just did it because I just wanted to wash her feet
Mm-hmm.
because I knew she flew back at the same time as I would. And then she had to have this full day. Whereas I got to like maybe slow my schedule down a little bit that day and recover. She didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, I wanted to just serve her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's about, guys. That's effort and attitude. But if I was like, yeah, but she should still be like noticed and she should tell me that. Had she never said anything, I would have forgot about it because I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't need it. But so many guys, they need that appreciation. They need sex from their wife. They need all of that. I'm telling you right now, if you have a counselor, a therapist, or anybody in your life that tells you you have needs, remove yourself from their life.
Yeah.
You have no needs in life but Jesus.
Yeah.
That's the only one that you have. But if you need those things, it shows you how weak you are, how docile you are, how broken you are, and how far from God you actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you encounter the real God, you don't need anything in this life.
Mm-mm.
I promise you that. So this is my call out to you men. Effort and attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Give 100% effort and 100% positive attitude.
Yeah.
Whether it goes your way, whether you get appreciation or you don't, you go above and beyond. I don't care if you get paid minimum wage. You give a wage like you're the CEO of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, here are some benefits of it. Number one, it earns respect and trust. from your wife, from friends, from other people around you,
Mm-hmm.
and people will throw you opportunities
Yeah.
left and right. We were at the airport flying home, and we bring our food with everywhere we go. But because our plane got delayed, we were like, oh, we didn't expect in this, and so we're going to have to get a meal at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And so we looked at a couple of different restaurants, and we went into one of the restaurants, and we were like, yeah, this would probably be the best
Yeah.
options. So we go in, we sit down because it was seat yourself. But we had about 40 minutes before they were about to board our plane.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, man, we got to like order food.
Mm-hmm.
They got to make the food. They got to bring it to us. We got to eat the
Yeah.
food. So man, we were cutting it close. And so we sat there. The waitress doesn't come over. She's just doing a bunch of other nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And then she still sees us, doesn't come over.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting there. And then she still doesn't come over. And we were like, and instantly we were like, okay, we need to go somewhere else because now we're less of the time. We're going to have to go somewhere where we can just like order at the counter and get it because this isn't going to work anymore. And we thought, and we both said to ourselves, I said, babe, this is exactly that. She doesn't have the effort or the attitude, and she's not coming over to serve, not because we are deserving of it, but we are the customers there.
Right.
And it wasn't like she was slammed. This place wasn't packed. There were some other people there, but it was like an effort and attitude came over, even if she had something else to do. Hey guys, I'm tied up right now in just a second. I'll be here. Here's a couple of menus. I'll be back in just a little bit. Just let you know. That's being proactive, and that's effort and attitude.
She was doing less than actually her job description,
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna be careful what I say. But so my point with that is I go, oh, there's no effort and attitude. Where are a lot of businessmen at? Very successful people. Worldly successful people, at least, in airports. Right?
Oh, yeah. So I was like trying to figure out what you're traveling
because you travel a lot.
Right.
Here's somebody who's in an airport that maybe God placed in an airport at a restaurant. And if she kills it above and beyond, and it's just like, yo, she came over, she said this, she still, man, she was hustling all over here. She had the best attitude, even though she was grinding. She gave us the best service in all of these aspects. And she just does that day in and day out all day. Not everybody she serves are going to be businessmen. And not everybody she's serving in that moment, they're going to be watching her serve other people the same way, whether they're businessmen or there's somebody there who's not. I promise you, high-level men and successful men and high-level women are always watching.
Yeah.
And they would go, dang, there's something special about this. And then when she comes to serve them, be like, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's going on?
Yeah.
I promise you, she would get an opportunity that would open up for her. That would be exactly in her calling, or at least next steps of the next opportunity because of that.
Yeah.
But because she didn't, I guarantee she's losing opportunities left and right. And so that's the next one is when you do it, it unlocks favor and promotion from God, from your wife, from wives to husband, from husbands to wives, from random people who will say, you go above and beyond.
Yeah.
You set the standard. You do all of these things.
Yeah.
Dang. That's a benefit of it.
Yeah. And, on top of that too, like maybe God's trying to bless you financially. Maybe that's his way of blessing you in that way when you're like, maybe she needed money really bad. Maybe she didn't have very much money. Maybe she was behind on bills or something, but maybe that's why she had that kind of an attitude or something, even too. Maybe God's trying to bless you with those things, but if you aren't going above and beyond, or if you do go above and beyond, let's say, how many more better tips are you going to get? We've done it before. We did it this weekend with something where if somebody goes above and beyond, or we just think that this person deserves something, maybe I'll leave you $100 bill. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll leave you $100 bill for a $40 meal, whatever it is. But if you're showing that, that's how you're going to get blessed. Maybe God is trying to bless you with those things, but you're not giving him the time of day to do it,
Because it's so well said, because you're thinking logically of these things. She would have got a tip, and we always tip well, especially for the services that we go above and beyond, right? And or if God lays it on our heart, like you said, of like, yo, go crazy above what you're about to do here for this person.
Right.
She could have got blessed. I'm not saying like it was with us, that's with anybody.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, but so many people go, oh, well, they're going to order a $40 meal. And so if it's, 10%, that's a $4 tip. But even if they give me $20, $8, who cares? Whatever. I'm having a bad day. Little did you know that maybe God was going to have somebody leave you $100 tip, $1,000 tip. Yeah. God will do crazy things through his people that he knows are obedient, right? But even for the person, because they're willing to do the $1,000 tip, they're not doing it to get anything, just as I wasn't doing the dishes to get anything, but because of that effort and attitude, what will God do? He will bless them again on back of it, because they didn't do it to get anything. They just did it because of love.
Right.
That's how it works.
Right.
Show 100% effort and 100% attitude. That's on point, and you will be blessed. That's why people say, well, my wife's hormones, or it's menopause. I promise you, effort and attitude go way above hormones. I promise you that.
Yes.
The reason why menopause is an issue in your marriage is because your effort and attitude sucks. And so when menopause comes, it just makes it even worse. But if you have 100% effort and attitude, I promise you, your wife will go above and beyond, even though menopause is there.
Right.
She will make it happen.
Yeah.
She will make it happen.
That's right.
So guys, make it happen. If you're wrestling with this thing right here, there's a couple of action steps I just want to drop on you. One, ask yourself, am I giving 100% effort and attitude, excellence, as if I'm doing it for the Lord? Would I be the type of person that I would hire if I was like, would see me and everything that I'm doing, my effort and attitude for every single person from the lowest to the highest, and treating nobody differently? Am I that person? Next, do everything as if you're doing it for the Lord. Third, always see everything as an opportunity, even in the worst situation. And lastly, read the book Dangerous Prayers. I've mentioned it on here before, because if you aren't in this spot and you think you deserve things, you need to be broken. Your heart needs to be searched. You need to be put in the wood chipper. And I promise you, God is a God who gives, but God is a God who will take. But when he takes, he wants it to give it back. He'll give it back to you better than before, if you give him the opportunity. But you need to die to self. If you want to be my disciple, you must, it's the key word it says in there, do these 3 things. Deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow me. Are you willing to do that? And if you're not, and you're in it for something, you're not denying yourself. You're not carrying a cross. And you're not following him. You're following yourself. And that's not a disciple. Take a hard look in the mirror. Turn the mirror on yourself. You're the problem. But when you're the problem, you're also the solution. But it will be painful. So guys, we thank you for listening. If this impacted you, share it with somebody who needs to hear this as well. Chances are that's not your wife, so don't send it to her. And even if she does need to hear this, share it in the right, correct way. Share this with a friend. If this impacted you, rate it 5 stars, give us a follow or subscribe. And if you want to go through the process where we're going to put you through the wood chipper and make you a high-level husband, click the link below. So, love you guys.
Bye.